You're right, everyone. Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to the Aberdeen save. We are at the split point of the season, so we've got 5 games left to play. We have gone through our European game. We have played some games in the Cups. I'll show you what happened, shall we? So as you can see from the table right here, we're in a really good position. I think we're a little too far off Celtic to actually challenge for the title, but we're in a good position to get second place and maybe get into that Champions League qualification spot. We have gone on I think it's a 17-game domestic football unbeaten streak. We're in really good form. We did beat Rangers 2-1 at home to put us in a really strong second place position. Unfortunately, we followed that up with a 0-0 draw against Dundee. So that was a bit of a kick, but we're in a really good position. Hopefully we can get that Champions League qualification spot at least for next season. So at the end of the last video, I think we just played the Celtic game. So we started off with a 0-0 draw against Dundee, a frustrating one. We then got knocked out by Real Sociedad in the Europa Conference League in a really, really, really annoying fashion. So the game went, we're defensively really solid, but our forwards just couldn't get into the game. And then we got knocked out by this goal. This can't be right. He flubs it. Let's rewind it again. I don't want to watch it again, but we kind of have to. The ball is nodded back from Jamelka, cleaned up really nicely. We're in the 90th minute of the game. It rolls back to Gunnarsson on his goal line, somehow fails to pick it up, and then goes to pick it up again, falls over, and Porto taps it in. That can't be a match day feature. I'll just leave it at that. But that saw the end of our journey into Europe. So based off the draw for Sociedad, we would have got Stuttgart in the next round, which again would have been a really tough tie. But a little bit more money, maybe. They're a mid-table Bundesliga side right now, so we could have possibly got past them, got to a final maybe, but it just wasn't meant to be. Domestically, though, we did roll on. So we beat Hearts 1-0. We then beat Ross County 6-1 in an absolute thumping. St Johnstone 2-0 in the Scottish Cup quarter-final, which sets up a semi-final against Celtic, which will be happening next, which will be today, actually, 2 p.m. over on twitch.tv/VIKINGDAN. Come over, give me a follow. So let's see how we do. After that, St Mirren, back-to-back 4-0 wins. We beat Rangers 2-1 at home, and then, the frustration. Created a decent amount of chances, but they just defended deep. You can see from their defensive and their goalkeeping ratings, they just defended really well. We couldn't get the breakthrough. It's 0-0. As I said earlier, it puts us in a really good position in the league, but some tough games to play. We've got Dundee, then St Johnstone, then Hibs, then Celtic, then Rangers. I'm hoping that after the Hibs game, these 3 games, 9 more points, we can be in a position where we're basically guaranteed second place. The last thing I want is to be going into that Rangers game away from home, last day of the season, and giving up second place. That would be absolutely gutting. I'd almost rather lose against Dundee and St Johnstone so that we don't have to worry about dropping second place, basically. In terms of the players that have really turned up in the last few games, Lewis Ferguson is back to his best form. He's now got 15 goals and 4 assists in his 35 games this year. Really turned it on in the last 10 or so games. Also, Calvin Ramsey just continues to perform incredibly. He's got himself a couple of goals, but 21 assists in 34 games. He is the guy over all of our free kicks, most of our corners, also getting really high and being that attacking outlet on the right-hand side as well. He is invaluable to this team. But big shout out to Coley Woodrow, who, granted, he did fail to score in the last game, but 12 goals in 14 starts in all comps, 9 in 10 starts in the Premiership. He has been a amazing pickup. We paid £400,000 for him when he was basically misfiring at Barnsley. I thought it would be a good little pickup. Turns out I was right. He's now valued at 4.8 to 6.6 million. Even if he isn't our starting striker next year, he at least gives us really good flexibility. He can play as a 10 off the wings, but also just a clinical goal scorer. So gives us loads of depth and options going forward. Looking a little bit further forward into the summer and the transfer window, we have managed to negotiate an asking price of 16.25 million for Calvin Ramsey. Everton were sniffing around him. They're not right now, but it wouldn't surprise me if teams started coming in for these players. Lewis Ferguson as well has got a 15 million asking price. Ben Woodburn, who's just signed a new deal, Did have teams sniffing around him. I think Torino, maybe a couple of other European sides were looking at him. We've managed to negotiate an 18 million release fee, or at least asking price. But he does have a 12.75 million release fee in his new contract as well. So if one or maybe all of these players leave, that would be a massive influx of cash, but also it just allow us to really invest in not only our youth and training facilities, but also our kind of scouting range as well. Right now, we are limited to Scotland only just due to our budgeting, and it'd allow us to invest a load in our playing staff as well. One of the things that we are noticing this year is when I haven't got my starting 11, we are pretty thin in terms of options off the bench. Adekanye, Hallebrand, Ogbene have been all right, but haven't really been turning up and haven't been performing that well. Luca Connell has had a decent season without setting things alight. Ben Woodburn would probably fall into that category as well. But they're both young. They've both got a lot of football ahead of them. I think they will continue to be good pickups. But ideally, I'd like to be bringing in players that are going to be replacing these 11. And then these 11 can go into our second 11. And we can just have a really strong, deep 20 to 25-man squad that has a few young players, but also some experienced players, reliable players who can come in and perform. If we lose Calvin Ramsey or Lewis Ferguson or Ben Woodburn or any combination of them, I think it just puts us in a really good position to invest into the squad and give us that team that will allow us, that entire squad that will allow us to really challenge both domestically and in any European competition that we're in. Because we are at the point now where everyone's starting to get very tired, a bit fatigued. That's probably why we weren't able to create chances in that European game. So, yeah, long-term vision, we need a bigger, deeper squad. But to do that, we need money. It sucks to lose any of those players, but I think we could improve the squad as a whole if that were to happen. One final thing that did kind of skip my mind in the last video, we won the Premier Sports Cup, the Scottish League Cup. So we found our way to the final. After beating Kilmarnock 3-0, we then went past Hearts 1-0 after extra time. We then beat Rangers 3-2 in the semi-final. That set up a final against Hibernian, beat them 2-0. It was a pretty conclusive win, to be honest. We were in control, and we've got our first bit of silverware. Can we get another? Like I say, we do have Celtic in the semi-final of the Scottish Cup. I'm going to admit it, we are too far off Celtic to challenge for the title this year. But if we can get over 77 points, it's another increase in our points total from last year. It's another step of improvement. And getting into that Champions League group, well, if we can get past the qualifiers anyway, would be massive. I think that's 12, 13 million straight in the bank. That would be amazing and just allow us to keep investing in the infrastructure at the club. Speaking of facilities, we are actually due to move into the new Kingsford Stadium, which in real life I think has been shelved, but in game, we're moving in there for the start of next season. It's going to be a nice, new, modern facility. Pittodrie is obviously an historic stadium, but this is going to be a 20,000 all-seat, a really nice new stadium. It's a little bit smaller, but hopefully with a bigger expansion capacity. So there we have it. Like I say, we've had a great season so far. Hopefully we can cap it off with a little bit more silverware, maybe even snatch that Scottish Premiership title away from Celtic. It's looking unlikely though. Best case scenario, I think, second place, get into that Champions League playoff spot, get into the group stage, get some money, and just keep the juggernaut rolling on. As always, guys, if you've enjoyed the video, please do leave a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're not already. If you're liking these videos or any of the other videos that I'm doing, there are more of those to come very soon. But for now, guys, thank you very much for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.